Stuart was a kind, caring man. He was a friend to everybody that he met, and he had such a big smile that would light up the room, and he just loved playing a joke on everybody. He was such a prankster. Stuart worked as a motor mechanic. He worked with his dad at their business. Stuart was obsessed with cars, and he lived and breathed cars. We just met whenever we were teenagers, just as friends first, and then we became boyfriend and girlfriend at a very young age. Stuart and I got married in September 2019, and we have 2 children. We have Ethan, who is 13, and Jessica, who is 7. Stuart was a great dad, and he just was the fun dad. He was the fun parent. He was always laughing and joking and playing with the children. We lived in Carrickfergus. We bought our first home just before Stuart was diagnosed. Stuart was only 33 years old whenever he passed away. He was diagnosed with a grade 4 glioblastoma brain tumour, which is the most aggressive form.
After diagnosis, Stuart had 2 craniotomies, followed by chemo and radiotherapy. Scans stayed clear until April 2021, when the tumour returned and surgery was needed. A year later, another inoperable tumour was found. Over 6 months without treatment, Stuart gradually lost mobility and speech.
For Stuart, who was a very independent man, for him to kind of lose his mobility and his speech was really difficult. In those last few weeks, it was definitely getting harder and harder to cope at home, and the pain was getting harder and harder to control. And it was probably about a month before Stuart passed away, we were approached about hospice care. I think in the beginning we were quite against hospice care, and I think we really didn't know much about it, and to us he's being taken out of home, he was being taken in as an inpatient, and we wanted to keep him at home for as long as possible. But to be honest, whenever we came here, that massively changed our views on hospice care. Almost the minute Stuart was brought into the hospice, it was like a massive weight lifted off our shoulders, and I think that was more even just seeing Stuart, because he looked so comfortable. He looked more at peace here. I do think there is that misconception that hospice is end-of-life care, and end-of-life care is older people, but Stuart was, he was very young whenever he passed away. He was 33, and he was given that dignity and given that, respect as a young adult. And I think the hospice were amazing. We were there, and Stuart was dying, and they made us feel comfortable. The staff were happy at all times. They treated our children like they were VIPs, honestly. They did everything they could, the complimentary therapies. They provided pumpkins for them to carve because it was Halloween, and the chef took Ethan away and he baked banana bread, and they took photographs and they framed the photographs, and the children loved it, so much so that when Stuart did pass away, they didn't want to leave. They didn't want to leave. Everybody cared for Stuart so well, but it wasn't just Stuart, it was our whole family that they cared for. It allowed me to be his wife, and it allowed me to be a mum to my children as well, and be able to spend those last 9 days just with Stuarty as his wife. The hospice means to me and to us as a family it's a very special place. It brought a lot of happiness and lasting memories in those last 9 days for us as a family, and it gave us the opportunity to be together as a family.